Hey sweet friends, and welcome back to my channel. This is a super fun video today. I am bringing you 5 fall DIYs using these new Dollar Tree calendars. They have gorgeous calendars out right now with like the prettiest photos and pictures and designs in there with like quotes and look, farmhouse. I love these so much. These were so fun to use. If you see them, I would go ahead and pick them up because they are selling out fast. These are the 2021 calendars, but they have that gorgeous farmer's market one too that is really hard to find. I've only been able to find one of them, so just keep an eye out for them because I'm going to be using these more on into the season. But today I bring you 5 fall DIYs that turned out really cute using these calendars. I do want to give a huge thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. I'll tell you a little bit more about them in the video. Make sure you leave me a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. But I want to go ahead and jump on into these fun DIYs using these $1 calendars. So I wanted to share with you an up-close view of how gorgeous that these were. They have these two, like the Simply Blessed and the Farmer's Market, that are just so farmhouse and beautiful. I love the shiplap backing that these have, and the fall ones. I was super excited to purchase these for fall DIYs, and this Farmer's Market one has like a lot of gorgeous pages that would make beautiful kitchens if you have like a lemon kitchen or an apple kitchen, like kitchen DIYs I mean, but I think they were so pretty. And then this Be Brave one, I just love the November and December one so much, the fall and the winter one, but they also have other ones that would be cute even in like my daughter's room, so I'm excited to use those. These definitely will not go to waste. I went ahead and just started tearing out very carefully some of my favorite pages so that I would just be ready to go and start DIYing. I love this pumpkin patch. I didn't end up using it in today's video, but like I said, I will save all of these for the next DIY. But for the first project, I have found these little brown buffalo check little signs. They have this on the edge, and I think they are so cute and such just a fun change up from using the black and white all of the time. I wanted to make like a little sign that would sit on a table, but it needed to be a little bit bigger than these were, so I'm gluing 3 of these on top of each other just to make the larger sign. And then I was so happy that the edges of the buffalo check, or this little checkered print, did match up on the edges, so it looks really nice and it doesn't like look all messed up on the side, so I was so excited about that. And then I just wanted a base coat because I am going to be adding some little photos on top of this, so I go ahead and just paint a couple coats of my white Waverly chalk on here and make sure that it's really smooth and that none of these letters are popping out. If you don't have scrapbooking paper on hand, you could just dry brush this with a little bit of gray and just kind of make the background a little bit texturized. But I have this faux shiplap from Hobby Lobby, the scrapbooking paper that goes on sale all the time for 25 cents each. So I always keep this on hand, but I'm going to go ahead and Mod Podge this down, and it's just going to cover the cracks of all 3 of those signs put together in the front and just give it a beautiful textured background. To Mod Podge, I like to add a ton of Mod Podge and just apply it to the sign as well as the back of the paper. I always forget the trick that I learned. You are supposed to just like barely dampen your paper before you Mod Podge it to avoid wrinkles. I always forget to do that. So definitely if you have a spray bottle of water, you might spritz it a tiny bit so that it is easier to work with and it does kind of dry a little bit smoother. I go ahead and line that down and then completely let that dry. All of these calendar pages are so beautiful that you wouldn't even have to cut them apart. You just could Mod Podge them on a square sign and they already look like home decor that is gorgeous. But I'm just trying to challenge myself to make different DIYs and not just Mod Podge the whole thing down, but I really want to make these decorative little home decor pieces. So I go ahead and cut out this little red truck. He's got pumpkins in the back that I think is adorable, and then to give it a little bit of wording on there, I cut out the bottom that says pumpkins, apples, K-Rides and Mod Podge that down. Whenever this is wet, my eye can see the calendar through the paper, which kind of freaks you out at first. But most of mine dried to where you weren't able to see it, except like through this window that's really pale, you could see the number 20. So I do go in with a little bit of white chalk paint and cover that over, but it just blended in really nicely. But for the most part, like I said, especially on like the black and the red truck, you're not able to see the lines from the calendar. But I put this DIY together in literally like 2 minutes, and the longest part was just waiting for it to dry. But I think it is a gorgeous little piece, and for like $4 in total if you count the price of the calendar, I think it is such an adorable little DIY. And then moving on to the next project, I found 2 more of those same signs, except these have the wood on the edges, and they didn't match up exactly on the edges, so I do take a little bit of my truffle brown chalk paint and kind of distress over there to camouflage in all the little imperfections on there. But I hot glue them together as best as I can. You can see here that sometimes I leave the lids off on accident, and I thought that was the truffle paint, but it actually was the elephant color, and after I got it squirted out. But don't worry, a lot of people in the comments tell me that they think that I waste paint, but I seriously don't. Like, I make several projects a day, and I always leave those paints there, and then I end up just distressing with them all the time. And anyways, but I think this, just adding that distressing on there, just gives it a little bit of a nicer quality look. And then I wanted to cover up the wording on the front, so I go ahead and paint that with white as well. I did glue these not on top of each other like the first DIY, but in front of each other, so that this does make like a little chunkier sign, and I will be able to decorate on top of it. And then also on that little truck page, the top said harvest in really big black letters, and I didn't want to waste that, so I'm going to go ahead and Mod Podge that down to this sign. You can see that I added way too much Mod Podge, so I did have to scoop that off, but once again, I will end up using that on the next project. I picked up some of these gorgeous neutral pumpkins. I think these just scream farmhouse fall. I think they are gorgeous. I picked out my initial to put in the middle, and then for the 2 on the edges, I'm just going to pull the bow off and glue them on the opposite side so that they look just plain. To add a little bit of more farmhouse decorations to them, I added in a little bit of greenery. This is boxwood that I pick up from Walmart. It's very inexpensive. I mentioned this last video, but definitely check out Walmart's floral picks, especially for fall. They have out gorgeous 98-cent picks right now. But this is how it came together. I think it is a beautiful farmhouse fall piece, perfect if you love neutral colors, but you also can pick up the orange one that they have in these initial pumpkins as well. I really hope you all are enjoying these DIYs, and I have a ton of more content coming your way, so make sure you stay tuned and let me know if you have found any of these calendars at your Dollar Tree or been able to pick them up. I would love to know. But I want to go ahead and thank Skillshare again for sponsoring today's video. Skillshare is a learning community online for creative people just like you. They offer thousands of classes on anything from illustration, design, photography, video, and tons more. And Skillshare has classes that fit into your schedule and skill level, so that this really works out for everyone, especially with most of the classes being under 60 minutes. I have shared a lot about Skillshare on my channel and just talked a lot about how I have advanced my skills in like photography and editing and really helping out my YouTube channel. But I am currently watching this productivity masterclass by Thomas Frank, and he is a YouTuber himself and just shares how he gets more productive with his time, which is definitely something that I need more help out right now. So super fun and informative to watch. I know you guys are going to love it. And for the first 1,000 of my sweet subscribers to go and click the link down below, will receive a 2-month free trial premium Skillshare membership so that you can go and try it out for yourself. And I know not only are you going to be able to brush up on hobbies that you already love doing, but you are going to discover something new. I love just seeing like the most popular videos and like what everyone else is loving to do right now. And I know I've talked about it a lot before, but I love like their watercolor painting and like nature painting. I know I do a lot of crafts on this channel, but just like the fine arts painting is just so like intriguing to me. I'm not perfect at it, but they just like make easy to follow along classes that are just so relaxing and like perfect for right now. So go and click that link down below. I know you're gonna love it, but let's go ahead and jump back into the video and share some more Dollar Tree DIYs using these calendars. Next up, I'm using the Farmer's Market calendar. I knew that Farmer's Market would look so good with some pumpkins. I didn't know exactly how I wanted to use it, but I put it down on this board and I realized that some of the edges were showing, so I'm using more of this scrapbooking paper. This is a black and white check, also from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to cut out just enough to cover up those sides and then Mod Podge this down underneath the Farmer's Market little calendar piece. Whenever I was purchasing supplies for these DIYs, all I could find at the time was this little jack-o'-lantern wooden pumpkin, but since then I have found some plain wood pumpkins that are gorgeous at Dollar Tree that are about the same size and would work perfect for this, so I recommend picking that up. I want to turn this into like a 3D little pumpkin and add some different textures and height to it, so I'm using an oval from Dollar Tree just out of the little Crafter Square wooden section, and I'm going to put a different texture on there. So I have this little two-tone polka dot orange scrapbooking paper. I'm going to go ahead and just Mod Podge this down on the front of that, and then for the backing I wanted more of like a neutral color, so I am going to paint it white and add a little bit of the gray distressing on top of that. Whenever I am distressing pumpkins, I love to go with the shape of the pumpkin. It just gives it more of a round effect. And then after I do Mod Podge the paper down on different things, I do like to take a piece of sandpaper and kind of just pull it down over the edge, and it will just break off or rip off very easily the excess paper. And then I had to make a burlap bow for this to cover up the top of the pumpkin because the oval wasn't tall enough. I love adding pops of orange and color into all of my DIYs, but you definitely could switch out that scrapbooking paper for something more neutral, or even maybe use more of the buffalo check pattern. And then I drilled a couple holes in the top. I want this to hang with a larger piece of rope to look nicer than just hanging with twine. And then I love to add the knots in the front, but you definitely can feel free to hide those in the back if that's how you want to attach it. And then to attach the pumpkin to this top sign, I'm using a piece of wire, and then just put it in those original holes that the twine was hanging in. I twist that around, and then I'm going to use a popsicle stick and hot glue that so that the wire is attached to the back of the top of the sign. But this is how it came together. I think this is a gorgeous little 3D piece that is perfect. Kind of a perfect mix in between farmhouse and fall colors, but just looks gorgeous mixed in with all of my new farmhouse decor. I have been trying to make it a goal to use up some of my older decor from this year, so I don't just have to keep purchasing new items to DIY with. I have this Valentine sign that has the little cutouts on the edges to make it look like real plank wood, and I wanted this sign to be Mod Podged with an entire sheet, so I show you that you don't always have to just cut them up to use them. But I go ahead and just trace the exact sign shape onto the back of this calendar page and cut out all of those little notches so that it will fit nice as perfectly as it can. I did have to take a little bit of sandpaper once again and kind of get the excess off of the edges, but this just made it easier and I would know where I needed paper removed at. I go ahead and add a ton of this Mod Podge. Once again, I would recommend spraying this page with a tiny bit of water just to make it easier to kind of shift around. It isn't as easy to work with as if it was a little bit wet, but I go ahead and push all the bubbles out to the sides, and then like I said, just using a piece of sandpaper, just pull it down over the edge very carefully and it will remove the excess. You definitely could use nautical rope here. I picked up some of this cute little ribbon from Hobby Lobby. I definitely got it on sale. It is a little bit more pricey, but if you want to, I'll get to use this on a ton of different projects, but if you want to go a little bit cheaper, definitely just feel free to use the nautical rope. You could even add your own beads onto that. But I thought this was cute with the little orange beads on there, so I go ahead and just do the same thing, except I do go ahead and just hot glue these down in the back this time. And then this leaf matches the little leaves on the calendar page, the little artwork. So I thought it would be fun to hang this upside down instead of the way that the hole was intended. So I go ahead and fill this in with some filler, and then I dry brush it with a little bit of brown. I didn't want it to be solid, and then I do a tiny little pumpkin the same way with some pumpkin chalk paint. I was debating what kind of little charm to add to this sign, but I wanted something to dangle here. I debated between maybe like a colorful tassel or a larger pumpkin, but I just settled on using this leaf in the background and putting the little pumpkin on top of the leaf. I was kind of worried about it at first, but I think it turned out really cute and add that extra little detail that I wanted. I didn't want a colorful leaf because I felt like it would clash with the other leaves, but it adds a little bit of a distressed look to it. But this is how it looks all put together. I think it is an adorable little piece and a perfect way to use another calendar page. And for the last DIY, I'm putting together two of these little trivets or little pot holders. I think these were perfect. I did one with a photo in the background last Christmas, and I loved it so much. And after I was looking through more of the calendar pages, I thought these would be perfect to use to get a little farmhouse trivet. Now, I forgot that this isn't technically a fall DIY, but you could use a fall page. But for me, I wanted to make ones that I could use every day, so I loved this creamery one, and then the Bless Our Nest. I tried the circle on the Bless Our Nest and it was just cutting off too much of the greenery of the wreath, so I go ahead and use the square one there. But then I thought this circle complemented that little natural and fresh banner, and then you can still see the little date at the top. So I just outlined these with a permanent marker because I knew I was going to have to cut it a little bit smaller than the marking anyways, so I go ahead and cut these out. And then instead of using Mod Podge like I always do, I added clear Elmer's glue because the Mod Podge seems to take a while to dry whenever it is sealed in under glass like this. And I figured out last Christmas that it took my photo a long time. The first one that I made, you couldn't even see the photo for several days because it took the Mod Podge so long to completely dry out. So I am just adding the clear so that it'll go ahead and not just be super cloudy, but then I do recommend adding a few coats of the Mod Podge after the calendar is glued down so that it does seal the bottom really nice and tight. And then you can trim off any excess, and like I said, make sure that you are adding a couple layers of Mod Podge underneath. But this is how easy they came together. These would be perfect gifts. If you want to hide that ugly calendar backing, you definitely could add a piece of plastic from Dollar Tree or a plastic placemat, or even paint over it. But I think these turned out really fun and really cute and just easy $1 projects. Thank you all so much for coming along and crafting with me today. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below which one of these projects was your favorite, and I've already got some really cool more ideas with the leftover pages of these calendars, so make sure you are subscribed so that you can follow along and see what else I create with them. But I just had to stop there because I was creating so many fun ideas, so I'm going to save that for next time, and I've already started another one that I just love so much. Don't forget about Skillshare. I thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. I'll leave that link in the description down below if you want to go sign up and get the 2-month free trial to try Skillshare out for yourself. I love doing Skillshare or going online and trying out the relaxing Skillshare classes, and I love watching their videos, and I know you guys are going to love it too, so go click that link down below. Thank you again for watching. Leave me a big thumbs up, and I hope you leave here feeling inspired. Happy crafting! Bye!